As we learned just a few moments ago, President Trump planning to impose tariffs on Mexican goods coming into this country. He announced it via a tweet after teasing it earlier today on the lawn of the White House as he was leaving. He said that they're to expect a dramatic announcement on the border. Here's the president's tweets a moment ago. On June 10th, the United States will impose a 5% tariff on all goods coming into our country from Mexico until such time as illegal migrants coming through Mexico and into our country stop. The tariff will gradually increase until the illegal immigration problem is remedied, at which time the tariffs will be removed. Details from the White House to follow. We have got a statement now from the president regarding these emergency measures, as they are calling them, to address the crisis at the border. That statement starts out talking about what they are calling the United States of America has been invaded by hundreds of thousands of people coming into Mexico and entering our country illegally. As I mentioned, the president earlier today, when he was departing the White House, he commented on a variety of issues. One of them was this. He said that there would be a big announcement coming, an immigration-related announcement. He said we're going to do something very dramatic on the border, is what he said this morning, because people are coming into our country. So now we have the president threatening these new tariffs on Mexico that would begin June 10th on all goods coming from Mexico into the United States. And as the tweet alludes, they would increase if that does not stop over time. Markets are reacting to this tonight. They were down about 150 points, or they fell about 150 points on this news. It was a sharp drop. Dow futures, I should say, they open about 6 o'clock, and they give us an indication how trading will be in the morning. Susan Lee joins us now from the Fox Business Network. Thank you for jumping on this breaking news for us. This is big news from the White House to impose a 5% tariff on Mexican goods. Especially when you're fighting another trade front with China at this point. That's why we have stock markets selling off, down like 5% from the highs that we've seen, the peaks of 2019. So look, not tonight, but over the last few weeks. Since we were up about 18% for the S&P, best start to the new year since the late 1980s. But you should also keep in mind, this is not the first time that the White House and President Trump has threatened tariffs on Mexico. Remember, they talked about 25% tariffs on Mexican auto parts to come into this country if they didn't do anything about the border. So this is not the first time that we've heard this. In fact, 5% might be even less than 25% threat that we heard just about last year. But don't forget that we're in the middle of trying to seal this USMCA, which is the new NAFTA, NAFTA 2.0. We know Mike Pence was in Canada speaking to Prime Minister Trudeau today to try to get that trade deal finalized. So this obviously doesn't help if you're trying to get Congress on side to get this passed through. This comes amid continued or recent calls by the president to also shut down the border. He said, quote, before we close the border, we'll put the tariffs on the cars, to reference back to your earlier point. I don't think we'll ever have to close the border because the penalty of tariffs on cars coming to the U.S. from Mexico at 25% will be massive. Those were earlier comments by the president. Then now the news tonight, Susan Lee. So markets are reacting. Obviously, this is going to be the big news tomorrow as to how this affects the economic situation. And don't forget, Mexico enjoys a $60 billion surplus trading with the U.S., something that the president has already cited. And most of these are car parts. They also do a lot of garment business and a lot of parts that come into this country as well. So when he threatened to shut down the border, there were concerns that maybe this is going to impact two-way trade, since billions of dollars cross that border each and every year. I want to read this portion because we now have the statement from the White House here. Mexico must step up and help solve this problem, the White House writes. We welcome people who come to the United States legally, but we cannot allow our laws to be broken and our borders to be violated. For years, Mexico has not treated us fairly, but we are now asserting our rights as a sovereign nation. The president has put it out there that he suggested tariffs would be more effective means to pressure Mexico to do more about this migrant situation. Right. Don't forget cutting off aid as well to those three nations, Honduras, Guatemala, and the like, that make up the most of the caravans and the individuals trying to cross that southern border. But tariffs seems to be the favored way that the president wants to tackle issues, whether it has to do with China or Mexico. And these are countries that enjoy surpluses trading with the U.S. So it's understood that they get a lot of money out of this country. So in some ways, I would say that the U.S. has a stronger position to negotiate from. Very interesting. So there will be continued fallout from this. That news just breaking a few moments ago. Susan, we appreciate
here with reaction, all of the breaking news tonight. Fox News contributor Dan Bongino, Fox News correspondent at large Geraldo Rivera. You know, it's really simple. Mexico, up until fairly recently, had the most draconian laws about illegal immigrants from Central America. You either went to jail or they deported you. There was no in between. Now they're letting the caravans come up here. They have a responsibility, if they want to be our partners, to stop it on their end, and they're not.
I don't know. I'm not expert enough in terms of the economics of a tariff, whether that's the punitive measure that you employ to get Mexico to cooperate. But I think that what is clear, Sean, and you know I'm all for compassion, and I believe that immigration is a net positive for the country. But I think that no one can look at these pictures of 1,000 in one group in a single day, in a single hour crossing the border, and feel that inaction is an option. So we have to do something, and Mexico has to be our partner.
Of those 1,000 people, if there was one that comes here with bad intentions that we don't vet, we're not serving the American people well. It's that simple. We have a right to vet, and we have a right to demand that if you're coming here, you have to be able to take care of yourself.
My feeling is that those kinds of economic issues generally tend to work themselves out. And if you have 11 million undocumented people and once in a while some bad actor does some awful thing, what if it was a city of 11 million? You would expect something like that. The thing that I emphasize, and my mission, one of my missions in life, and you know that I have several, is to portray this group as the positive, traditional force that a compassionate, patriotic person would want.
Could we have a wall with a door?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Perfect. I don't care where you come from.
Yes.
We just be a part of our family and don't bring, you know.
But treat them with respect. And
everyone, we treat everybody with respect. Dan Bongino.
Yeah, Sean, here's what I don't understand. Treat them with respect. We've taken in millions of immigrants from all over the world who've decided to come here, legally raise their right hand, follow the rules, and pledge allegiance to the United States. And thank God for those people. But, Geraldo, compassion is not a public policy. You can't just say that and magically wave a wand and make these problems go away. We are compassionate. That's just not an accurate thing to say. You know, we need to be compassionate. That doesn't, one, it doesn't solve anything, and two, it's inaccurate, doesn't take into account the context of the entire immigration picture in the country right now. People who want to come here, there is a process. If you disregard the process, you can't come here. It's as simple as that.
Let me go to Robert Mueller yesterday.
Okay.
And then the clarification. Media, breathless, hysteria. Oh, we get to relive our conspiracy for one more day. But the clarification is massive, which is he had said on numerous occasions to numerous people that this Justice Department policy had no sway in the decision, that there was no evidence. The Deputy Attorney General, Office of Legal Counsel made that decision. That's what the statute calls for.
The first thing I thought of was if he had picked William Barr to be his original Attorney General rather than Senator Jeff Sessions, the president would have had a tenth of the problems he has.
He wouldn't have had any of this garbage.
He had nothing. It would have been Barr is so matter of fact. He is so disciplined in his approach. He's his grasp of the laws, the regulation, and the record is so spot on that he really helps the president.
Dan.
You know, what he did yesterday, Mueller, Sean, is disgraceful. And I really can't believe how some other networks are giving him a pass.
What do you mean you can't believe it? This is what they peddle lies and conspiracies every second, every minute, every hour of every day. That's all they do.
But Sean, it was so transparently obvious what he did. Not guilty is not a standard to impugn someone's character in a press conference where you spend the first 5 minutes of a 9-minute press conference saying how Russians you went after. This literally happened. Are entitled to the presumption of innocence, and then you go and relitigate a case against the president you were never, as a prosecutor, willing to try and didn't have the guts to try. It's an abomination of justice. Right. How do even the biggest Trump haters in the world not see that?
All right. Good to see you both. Congratulations on your golf tournament today, by the way.
Thank you for coming.
He raised money.
Most generous men in America right there.
He raises a lot of money every year. He has transformed how this country treats those that have mental health issues. go back.
We're all united in that cause.